Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to ROBMOTIVE. Let's talk about the bed in the Jeep Gladiator. We've got a 2025 Jeep Gladiator. This is the sport version. And I've been looking at the bed recently, and there's a lot of multi-function or multifaceted parts of the bed on the Gladiator. First of all, let's take a look at whether or not it's actually level. You know, most trucks kind of sit with a rake, right? They point down in the front. So we're gonna put a level on it. First of all, let's see if the floor of my garage is level. And you guys can see there, it's pretty darn dead on. So let's look at just the rail on the Gladiator and see what we get. And notice it does kind of point down to the front a little bit. Not a lot, maybe a quarter inch or so, and that's about it. What about inside the bed itself? Let's take just a quick look at that. I'm just really curious myself. It seems to be pretty level side to side. What about front to back? Looks to be just a little bit off, but really not too bad. It really is pretty close to level. We do have some rake again towards the front, about the same as we do on the edge, which you would expect there, although there is some, I guess, tolerance in the way these side rails fit. But let's take a look at the bed itself. First of all, notice I have the spray-in bed liner. Highly recommend that just to protect your bed, even though I also recommend that you put in a bed mat, because this is still relatively slippery, right? Things do slide around in here, and if you have one of those rubber mats, you're not gonna have that. But looking further at the bed, we've got some tie downs in here which are nice and big, nice and handy. I really like these. We have them in the front as well, and it would appear, and I haven't actually tried these yet myself, that they're supposed to be adjustable. How easy do they move? Really not too bad. They are firm and they do rotate as well. So pretty handy there if you need to move them around to tie things down, I suppose. Now, looking at the front of the bed, we do have some drain holes. They're kind of hidden a little bit. In a lot of trucks, they're just a round hole drilled through the bed to allow water to escape, obviously. And we've got one on each side. And then notice in the corners, there's a little bit of gapping there as well, which I'm sure would allow for water to drain through if you really need to. There are a couple of look like plugs on the side. They kind of sprayed the bed mat over. If for some reason you needed to go through, I'm not exactly sure if these would have been removable, like a rubber kind of a cap. They don't feel like it, although they do flex a little bit. So these might have actually been rubber. I'd be curious if anybody out there has a non-bed lined bed in their Jeep Gladiator. Are those just rubber plugs normally that you could remove? For instance, if you wanted to run some wiring or something through. I'd be curious to know. Looking on, we do have lights in the bed itself. You can see there's one on that side, and we also have one on this side. There is some sort of an access panel here on the side. This is what I think the material is up there in the front, where they kind of lie next or bed lined over it. This would come off. I'm not quite sure what you would really do with it. Honestly, you might mount a compressor inside there. Maybe someday we'll pull that off and take a look and see what's behind it. Not really the thrust of this video. Looking across the front, we do have what looks to be a kind of resemblance to the front grille area. 3, 4, 5. You notice they only have 5 slats as opposed to 7. 7 representing all 7 continents that the Jeep is on. They do have a little bit of tread on the sides. Just kind of a neat little, I guess, addition. And then maybe a resemblance to headlights on each side of the grille up front. Just a little styling touch. Speaking of that, we do have the 419 area code with a heart there. Of course, I believe this is the Toledo area code where Jeeps are finally assembled. On the bed in the back in the tailgate area, you can actually move the hold down here, or the cable, I guess, to be able to bring the tailgate up if you wanted to haul something long. And there is one on each side. Of course, you would do it on both sides if you were going to put something in here. But what that allows you to do is haul something long in the bed of the truck and not have it go sliding out the back, because you can angle up the tailgate to be able to slope everything towards the front to hold it in. Pretty handy, nice little touch. I really like that. That is something that Jeep enables us to do. Pretty cool, I think. Along the edges, if yours is like mine, and I believe they're all the same, you do have some threaded holes to add track in there if you want, or rails, I suppose, if you want to attach a tonneau cover or maybe some kind of a bed rack or something like that across the sides and the front. We do have them in the front too. It's too bad that Jeep honestly doesn't include those as a standard option with the Jeep, because of course a lot of people add tonneau covers and things. And I would highly recommend, if you're going to add a tonneau cover to the Jeep, to go ahead and put those rails on. I know a lot of the tonneau companies out there give you the option to kind of secure the tonneau cover underneath the edge of the rail here. But honestly, this thing is just plastic. There is a metal component, I guess, under there, but it's pretty thin. I would much rather go ahead and add the rails. I've seen people add tonneau covers using just the rails to secure it, and the rails kind of pull up a little bit, the bed caps, I should say. I wouldn't do it that way. Another thing Jeep has added, you'll notice these dimples here on the side. Those are the areas where you would drill through or add screws for bracketry for one of those flip down bed extender things. Not a big fan of that myself. I've had those before, and of course they have slats in them, so you'd have to have really a big load up against that, or the perfect load so that, for instance, boards just don't slide right out of the back of it. Never really understood those. Honestly, when I've had them in the past, they were always just in my way. I found that if I was hauling anything, I'd just take them out. And I think utilizing the straps to hold the tailgate up so that you can angle things down to keep them from falling out is probably a better option. The two final things I want to mention, notice there are slats in the sides on each side. So that's so you can put a board across there, and then put a board across the two indentations in the front over the wheel wells, so that you can haul something flat out of the back of the truck if you want, and in essence extend the width of what you can put in the truck. For instance, maybe a 4x8 sheet of plywood, drywall, whatever you want. Anyway, just a look at the bed. There are multi-facets to the bed in the Jeep Gladiator. It's a pretty nice setup and makes it pretty good for utility, I think. Leave a comment. Let me know if you knew about all these things. I'd just be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.